work hard, align it with God's will. And I think one of the most important things that I tell a lot of bands and stuff that are just starting, sow good seeds.
Hello, this is Andrea from Our Daydream, and today I have an awesome guest. His name is Josh Bramlett. He is the lead singer from the band The Protest. Without further ado, here is Josh. Hello.
What's up?
Hey.
Hey.
So I did get the pleasure to see you guys perform and Need More PA. Actually on the channel I recorded you guys live, and
cool.
Yeah, so I recorded the song Show Up to the Showdown. So it's already on my channel.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I love that. I love the people at that venue. They're just some of the best people. We always have a great time when we're up there. So
yeah, it was a pretty good crowd there.
Yeah. It was fun for sure.
Yeah. So I love to hear, when did you just like come up with, like, did you always want to be in a band?
Yeah, so that's definitely like a two-part story. I've always wanted to be in a band and be a rock and roller. Now, doing it for Christ was something I never had in my mind. When I grew up, I grew up in church and everything, have incredibly loving parents that showed me Jesus early. But I mean, I just wanted to be a rock star at that time. I didn't really want to use it for ministry. I just wanted to play music and have fun with my friends and, do all that. But I think when I got older, I realized the gravity of my own sin, and that a relationship with Jesus is not just like, you can't share your mom's relationship. You have to have your own. And I think up until late high school, early college, I didn't really understand that. So that's when I really reached out to Jesus, really on my own, was then. And then it just kind of, from there, I don't think there was a day where we were like, let's be a Christ-centered band. It just like, when you are a Christ follower, you try to be more Christ-like, and you try to, just show those fruits of the Spirit. And I think naturally we're just like, well, we're playing music. Let's reach people with it, show them the hope that we've been blessed to have in Jesus. And that's kind of what we've been doing for almost 12 years now.
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge reasoning why a lot of people actually leave the church, is that they're basing it off of one understanding rather than understanding it's like actually a walk. It's
Correct.
independent, it's not the same as everybody else, and it's not
Absolutely.
and it's real and it's true. It's not just written, it's every moment of our lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's something I've been working on now as an adult, is like, my walk with Christ, extends outside of just the band. I think sometimes, I know me personally, my identity is so wrapped up in what I do that I forget that, Josh Bramlett is first and foremost a child of God, and that's it.
Yeah.
If you strip the band away, you strip everything else away, I'm a child of God, and he doesn't need me to be anything else. He lets me. I'm blessed to do what I do for his kingdom, but if the Protest wasn't singing, then the Rocks would sing.
Yeah, it's true. So when did the Protest originate, and how did it originate?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, growing up, I was just a huge classic rock fan, man. I would be on my bed with the broomstick, rocking out, acting like I was playing in front of thousands of people. And then,
I love that.
I was totally that kid, MTV was still I was born in 1990, so I caught the very tail end of when they played music, and I would rush to the screen when they played some sweet rock song. But anyways, so I started playing music when I was in the 7th grade. I started taking lessons from the guy that would end up being our guitar player now. And my brother, our drummer, he got a drum kit. I play guitar. We just started jamming, started playing in talent shows and that kind of thing. And then
I love that.
yeah. And then TJ, our other gutar
Back
player.
to being in school.
Yes, exactly.
The garage bands.
Oh, we were. And literally, like once me, TJ, and Jared started jamming together, we had a few other guys here and there in high school, but we were literally a garage band. Like, we played so many people's birthday parties and Halloween parties, like, in their garage. And, and it was a time of our lives, I mean, again, at that time, we had no aspirations of doing it as seriously as we do it now. And we had no aspirations of doing it for the Lord, for sure. But sort of what happened was, in 2011, when we started taking it really serious, we have our lineup that we have now. We all just decided to sort of start doing this for the Lord, because he's worked in our lives in such big ways, that year. So it was kind of a unanimous decision, and we're going full force now, and we have been ever since.
Yeah. It's awesome. So, what is the most rewarding part of being in the band as a Christian rock band?
Sure. I'm sure you've heard this from a lot of people, but being in music, period, is very unglamorous. Being a Christian rock band, it's such a niche market and stuff. It's not glamorous. It's tough, and it's not easy all the time. But we're so blessed to have such good support. I think the most rewarding thing for us is, not like we love playing, but those moments after your show when you're down there, you're hanging out with the people who came, you're getting to hear their stories, you're getting to pray with people. Just a couple months ago, 2 high school girls got baptized at one of our shows, and I didn't really give an altar call. I didn't really I just, I don't know. I just kind of share my testimony, and stuff like that is what, I think is always going to be the most important. And yes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes my mind gets in the way, and I start thinking about money, or I start thinking about this or that. But when it all breaks down to it, the ripples that we, as musicians, or you with your podcast, the ripples that we are making go out there, and sometimes we don't always know where they go, but I believe the word of God doesn't come back void. So always looking for those kind of situations.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it was that night that I was at that concert with you, and then you guys were fronting for Disciple. So there was a lady that was in front of me, and she kept cackling because she didn't really want to be there because it was a Christian concert. And so, but she had like 5 teenagers with her. And so, because she was cackling, the 5 teenagers were cackling as well. And it come time for prayer, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do right now? So I tapped on their shoulder. I'm like, I'm really trying to hear what's being said. And so then they all quieted down until the end. The woman that was cackling had both of her hands in the air and completely surrendered to the whole thing. Praise it was so Lord. Beautiful. Yeah.
Praise the Lord. And that's very awesome and bold of you to do that, because I mean, not only were you able to hear, but obviously she heard too and was affected by it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I really was thinking about the kids in general, because I'm like, as long as she's doing this, the kids are going to do this as well. And I really want to
see.
Yeah. I really want the kids to hear this message. So I was really thinking okay, well, what's the queen bee here, and how can I kindly, get her to surrender right now? And it worked, but it was also the music, that
Oh yeah,
and the ministry. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, I'm really curious about this because when when you're listening to Christian rock and or whenever you're talking about it, there's like what is it? It's like condemnation towards it almost. And do you guys deal with that a lot? And how do you handle that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's such a weird world that we live in, and now that there's Facebook and everyone's got their opinions. One thing is, none of us are going to make everyone happy.
Right.
There are
Amen.
right, like there are secular places that say we're too Christian. There are Christian places that say we're not Christ. I mean, we're not. Our music doesn't point to Christ enough,
Right.
and it's one of those things where I just tell them the truth, and that's listen. Everyone's got a different approach. To protest. Yes, we are for men, and men, women, everyone, human beings fall short. We sin, but we've been
Right.
saved by the grace of God. And everything we do is for Jesus, whether people perceive it that way or not. I have no control over that. If they think our songs aren't pointing to Jesus enough, or we want to act, we want them to know that we are Christ followers by our hearts and how genuine we are, hopefully. And then hopefully they see it in our music too. But everyone's got their opinions. I mean, we'll get emails
Right.
every now and then from people that heard me talk about reading a Stephen King book once in an
Right.
interview, and people will jump on you for that kind of stuff. And it's just a weird
Yeah.
deal. So, we have to be very careful um, on what we do and what we say, because yes, we're not a huge band, but people do look up to us, and I want to say a good example, but I also want people to know that we fall short too, and we are humans, and
Right.
we're in this together. So
Right. And it's kind of like how like different churches or different religions will be like, well, you're wrong. No, no, you're wrong, and
right.
stuff like that. But whenever you actually like jump into the different churches, it's basically just a difference of personality. It's like
No,
one
that's
person likes
right.
hip
Like,
hop, one likes rock, you know what I mean? One likes
yes, and most people get it. Like, really, most people get it. Like, my church is a great example. um Not a lot of headbangers at my church, not a lot of
right,
metal fans at my church, but they love our hearts and they love what we do, and they understand that what we do might reach a different crowd than what
yeah,
they might. You know
absolutely.
what I mean? So we have so much support from people, that are like that. Like, sometimes I'm not even sure that my parents are in love with the music that we play, but they they love why we do it, and they love,
Yeah,
our heart behind it. And at the end of the day, then I mean, that's great. And there's going to be people that aren't going to like it at all. And
right.
there's going to be some people that think it's straight up evil. And I have nothing to say to that besides you can think what you
Come to
want,
a
but
show. Come to a show.
yes. And I mean, that's what I tell people, like, again, not that we're like a perfect band or have the best things to say, but every night when I get up there, I pray for the Lord to speak through me. And I want his words heard, not mine. Because when I started off, I would try to come up with these big long spiels that sounded smart and went somewhere, and I had put so much thought into it. And it just ended up being a bunch of mumbling that no one understood. So it was when I was like, okay, God, I'm going to let you speak. I want you to speak through me from now on. And that's what I do every single night, and I just want him to use me. Because I know that me alone, I don't have the words.
Right. I'm kind of odd because I didn't really like listening to rock very much until I heard Christian rock. And
Sure.
now I just love it. So
Oh yeah, and it's funny, like there truly is, at least in the rock world, um, there's a there's a Christian answer for every secular band there is. Like there's so many good Christian hardcore bands, Christian death metal bands, Christian pop rock bands. Like there's so many
Right.
good bands out there, you know, that are trying to fill the world with a little bit something else. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and it's really cool to be a part of that.
Right. I love it. It was like the first time that I went to a concert. I was expecting like an orchestra, and I walked in, it was Disciples' big display. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy smokes, like this is a thing. Like I didn't even know like that this like rock Christian music, like I didn't even know that it existed until like
Right.
I walked into that concert. I was expecting it to be like a choir, and I'm like, I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
And I walked
Was
in, I was so excited.
when did you see them for the first time?
Oh, when was that? It wasn't very long ago. I honestly was an atheist until 2017. It was
Oh wow.
2000, yeah, it was 2019 though that I actually like surrendered fully. So I think it was probably like 2020 maybe that I went and seen Disciple. So I was kind of like, it might have been before that. I was kind of delving into Christian music, but I wasn't fully into it. I've always been interested in all different types of genres, though.
Yeah.
So, but
Sure.
yeah, I just thought that was so cool. And then I started realizing like there's rap Christian music, like there's all different kinds. I was like, this is
Truly.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I think Disciple, um, they were pretty big in our walk too. You know, yeah, because growing up, like I wasn't aware of Christian rock outside of DC Talk and stuff like that. You know, I didn't know there was heavy Christian music out there, and um, you know, bands like Disciple really, you know, them and Decipher Down and Spoken and just, you know, Skillet, like a lot of those bands of that generation really took us under their wing, were great examples and just showed us how to do this thing. And we're
Right.
very, very humbled and thankful for that. And I hope that we can do the same for the younger artists coming now. You know, it wasn't long ago that we were always the young guys. Now we're not
Right.
the young guys anymore. You know, we're the middle-aged guys.
Yeah. Um, So I saw a post that you wrote, and you wrote, God knows the desires of your heart. What kind of advice would you give to those that are trying to chase their dreams? Like at one point you had dreams to be a rock star,
Yeah.
and so here you are playing with a band that you liked long before, like you liked Disciple way before you started playing for Disciple, correct?
What's that? Oh,
Like you were a fan of Disciple long before you started actually going on tour with Disciple and
yeah,
stuff.
yes,
Yeah,
totally,
so
totally.
that was kind of your dream come true. But when you, I feel like, because I'm in that place right now where it's like I have all these dreams, but it's hard to see that in my surroundings. And so, what's the best advice you give to somebody that's patiently waiting?
Sure. You know, this is always a tough question because one thing like I get in a really bad habit of is not seeing how blessed I am or how blessed the protest is, you know, like it's easy as a human being to want more and more and more. You know, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, you know, 12 years ago, if you would have said that we'd be on the road with Disciple ever, I'd say that that would just be it. If we could do that, I would need nothing else. You know, like,
Right.
you know, I mean, we've been blessed to play overseas. We've been blessed to see this beautiful country. So I guess my best advice would be, you know, dreams, you know, if you line them with God's will in your life, you can never be unsuccessful. You know, now in terms of money and fame, you know, maybe we won't reach that. You know what I mean? But if you align your dream with what God has taught you and God's will for your life, you can't go wrong, because if you surrender yourself to Jesus and what you do to Jesus, every interaction that you're going to have and every place you go, his name's going to be on your lips. And regardless, if you sell one single record or you play one single show, if one person at that show gets something out of it, then it was all worth it, you know? So
Right.
I'm trying to rethink what success is, you know. You know, I think it's always good to keep working hard. Obviously, we can't just sit back and, you know, not do anything. But, you know, work hard, align it with God's will. And I think one of the most important things that I tell a lot of bands and stuff that are just starting, sow good seeds. That's the best advice that we ever got, was just every time you go into a venue or play with a band, be kind, be humble, be respectful, help them load in and out, go that extra mile, because that's what
Mhm.
people are going to remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about too, I know whenever I'm aligned with what God wants for me, because there's like these like things just fall into your lap that you need at just the right
Oh
time.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's still like you said, like it's really difficult whenever you're not, whenever it feels like things aren't moving. But
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like totally. And like I think this conversation was meant to happen, because I'm not sure if you feel that way, but I definitely feel that way sometimes. You know, like with the band, it's always like, you know, it's always go, go, go. Like I want to
yeah,
keep, you know, like I want to keep growing and growing and growing and doing this. But, you know, sometimes that's just not how it works. God's plan is not, doesn't cater to our will. You know what I mean? It's
right.
his plan. So, you know, it is tough feeling kind of like you're stuck, and you're not, but you just kind of feel that way sometimes. And I totally
Yeah,
get that.
yeah, absolutely. So the song Greater, it really hits home for me with our daydream and my mission there. It's like I just really want to hit souls. And sometimes I feel like my what God's given me really isn't traveling very far, but then I will get like somebody will reach out to me and be like, thank you for, your posts or your
Right.
encouragement and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But but also it really is like once you find God, it's like I feel like you you have to be like the lady at the well and run into Liam, be like, you can be saved
Yeah.
too. you know.
So
Um
stoked. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So tell me about the story behind Greater.
Yeah. So thank you for your kind words, by the way. Yeah, Greater is a really, really special song to us. It's probably become sort of my favorite protest song. And it came from a place, it came from a difficult place. So when COVID hit, um, we weren't able to play any shows. We weren't able to do much as a band at all. Our guitar player, Adam, who's our best friend, was in LA at the time, and um, couldn't come home, you know. So we didn't see him for 6 months, and we're best friends, we're brothers, you know. And we weren't writing music, we weren't playing shows. It was just tough. I mean, no one was. So um I decided to step away, and to make ends meet, I had to um step away from this other job I was doing, and to make ends meet, I had to get a job that was really, really tough and very mentally draining. But it caused me to write the lyrics for Greater. The owner of this business, um, a great guy, a good man, but he just didn't understand why I did what I did. Like, why would you leave home, and why would you make music um, for not much money, for not much recognition? Like, why would you do that? You know? And he was kind of dogging me about it. And one day I just said, man, like, there is no reason that, you know, like the rewards are not going to be here on earth. There is not going to be fame and money for us, most likely, and that's just how it is. That's okay. We are trying to reach people with the gospel of Jesus, because he's changed our lives. And
Right.
we want
Amen.
to, and we want to share that with people. I mean, it's just like, like what you're doing with your podcast. Like, of course, it's fun to talk and, to artists and stuff, but at the end of the day, you want this stuff to reach people,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I love that. So, I know that you're going on tour with Disciple in the fall.
Mhm.
What's that like going on tour with Disciple? They seem like a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. They're great guys. I mean, they're definitely, we toured with a lot of bands in our career, and they're definitely one of our favorite bands to tour with. Kind of like you said, like 7 years ago, we went on tour with them for the very first time. And, then we were, a lot younger. We were freaking out. We didn't know the guys that well. We were so nervous. We're like, man, I hope, and now it's just funny now, like we become such good friends with them.
Yeah.
And touring with them is just a blast. Like, they are some of our best friends. They're our brothers. They always take really, really good care of the opening bands, and they're just great, encouraging dudes to be around. And we always have an absolute blast. Lots of laughs.
Yeah.
My heart's always full when I leave those guys. So
Right. So, what else is coming up besides the tour in
yeah.
the fall?
So it's been a really wild time for us lately. My brother, our drummer, had a baby.
Congrats
About
to your brother.
about 2 months ago, that I'm having one in about 2 months.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
Congrats.
thank you. So it's definitely uncharted territory. But next for the protest, we have some shows this summer, relatively light because of the babies and stuff like that. My brother's baby came a little early, and that freaked us out, because we were on the road, and we were like, oh my gosh, like, can you imagine? So
Yeah.
so we have a handful of shows this summer. This September we're heading over to Germany for a show, and then we get back and head out with Disciple. Some of the shows we're really looking forward to this summer would be a Live Fest in Ohio. Pumped about that one. Kingdom Come Fest is just in a couple weeks. That's a festival here in Indiana that's starting to gain some traction, and I love the people there. And this weekend we're playing a festival called Wonder Road Festival, and we're very, very blessed to be on the bill, but it's a very odd bill for us. I mean, there's some of these bands. I mean, these bands are massive, but they're like pop bands and indie rock
Yeah.
bands. We are
That's awesome.
we are by far the heaviest band. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be bands like Vampire Weekend and Bastille on this thing, and you got this metal band. So, I'm just praying that God does something really cool at that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's expecting to see a Christian metal band play at Wonder Road Festival. So, just a lot going on. We've been writing a lot. We're really pumped on that. Hopefully we'll have a new record coming out one of these days. And yeah, it's been going really good.
Yeah. I feel like I just seen a poster that you're coming back to PA soon too. Are you coming back to Pennsylvania soon?
Yeah, I think yes. Uprise Festival, we will be there.
Uprise.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, we play PA at least once or twice a year, so I'm sure we'll be back up that way eventually. We played a couple PA shows in March. So
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna share out your links in the description below. You do have a website, right? The protest has a website. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah. Me
Many
too.
blessings to you
Thank
and your
you.
ministry. I'll
Thank
just be
you.
praying for some growth and for your words to reach people.
Oh, I appreciate that. And I'm sure I'll see you eventually too here
I
in
would love
Pennsylvania.
that. Absolutely.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye. If you like this chat session, please hit subscribe. We have new guests coming up every week, and I don't want you to miss out. So I will see you next time. Bye.